You can really tell that I'm leaning into the whole pajama chic look, but you know what? I'm pregnant and I can wear whatever I want. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Bethany. I'm the girl behind Well Loved Knits, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than the normal knitting content on this channel. I'm going to share with you guys my me-made maternity wardrobe. So if you didn't already know, I am currently 36 weeks pregnant. I'll stand this way so maybe it's a little bit more obvious. You can see the bump. And when I found out I was pregnant, I knew two things absolutely had to happen. First of all, I had to knit my future son all the things. So I've been knitting him little sweaters and other accessories for a little handmade wardrobe for him. And second, I wanted to get back on my sewing machine and sew up some things specifically to get me through my pregnancy and my ever-changing bodies. That is what we're going to be going through today. You can see that there are a lot of sundresses, mainly just dresses to show you guys today because obviously the bulk of my pregnancy has been in the summer heat, so warmer weather. So dresses were definitely the most comfortable and also the easiest option for me. I consider myself a beginner sewer still. There are still some techniques that I have not mastered, obviously. I feel like that comes with so much practice. But this wardrobe, as imperfect as it is, was very functional for me. But before we get into all of the me-made items, I do want to take a few moments to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, VIVAIA. This is a brand I've actually worked with before in the past and love the opportunity to work with them because they create beautiful modern footwear in a responsible way. So VIVAIA uses both recycled and natural materials such as plastic bottles and natural rubber. So what did they end up sending me? Well, I have 3 pairs of shoes to show off to you guys. The first one is the Aria No. 5 Hemp. So the Aria model is this shoe right here. I feel like it has a really nice, elegant shape, but it follows, according to VIVAIA, an elegant ergonomic design. So I think you can kind of see it here with this nice, thick sole. It's very, very comfortable. Lots of support is built in for the arch, and then there's even added cushion at the back. The other thing that I really like about this shoe in particular is the fact that it's made from hemp, because hemp is actually antimicrobial and moisture wicking, which makes it even more breathable compared to other alternatives. And to top it all off, hemp is actually a carbon negative material since it doesn't require any fertilizer to grow. So I can feel good about having these on my feet because they're comfortable, but also for the sustainability properties too. Next up, I have a pair of very, very bold pointed toe flats. These are the Macy in a denim blue color. These shoes are made from 6 plastic bottles actually, and also boast the same antimicrobial properties as the other shoes I just shared. And they have a yoga mat insole, so really, really nice and squishy and comfortable. Personally, I really love the look of a pointed toe, but they're honestly not always the best for your feet, especially if you have, very sensitive toes, which is why I really like VIVAIA because they have a lot of extra room built in, a wider toe box on almost all of their styles, which make them extremely comfortable and also a little bit healthier for your feet. So finally, I wanted to have a shoe that was comfortable for everyday wear, but then is also something that would be really nice to kind of transition into the evening or for special occasions, and that's where this shoe came in. So for me, the mini pointed toe heeled flat was the perfect solution. So like I said, these are the perfect transition shoe. I honestly feel like they could go with almost anything and make you feel either dressed up or down, just a little bit more elevated in a casual look. Again, this knitted material is also made from 6 plastic bottles, and it has the same breathable qualities as the other pairs, as well as that cushioned insole. If you'd like to check out VIVAIA for yourself, you can get 15% off using the code WLK15. Both the code and the link is in the description. Again, thank you so much to VIVAIA for sponsoring today's video, and I want to say a huge thank you to you guys for supporting brands that support the channel. And with that said, let's check out what's in my me-made maternity wardrobe. Yeah, so since my pregnancy, the majority of my pregnancy was in summertime, I do have a lot of sundresses to show you guys, and I also just find that dresses are a little bit more easier and manageable as a new sewist. So I was able to kind of tackle those projects without being too intimidated. And I also just feel like for a bump, it's easier to fit into those kind of dresses. So you'll see a lot of gathered skirts, high like baby doll style bodices, and a lot of gingham. If there's one thing that you can really tell by just looking at this at a glance, is that I really love checker print, like gingham type fabric. And I think it's just because I really like working with that kind of fabric. I really found that that was easiest for me to work with because I could cut along the lines in a way. And since it's more geometric, it was easier for me to cut straight and sew straight than with any other kind of fabric, like the solid fabrics that you might see as well. Uniquely though, even though this is a maternity wardrobe, none of these patterns are actually specific to maternity. Mainly I was just gravitating towards really oversized patterns, but these are all things that are more normal patterns than they are a maternity item, if that makes sense. Basically, these are not specific to pregnant ladies. You can make these even if you're not pregnant, and I would recommend you doing so because I know that I specifically didn't want to follow maternity patterns so that I would get use out of these even after baby comes. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab them in chronological order and share them with you. They're not actually lined up in chronological order. So the first dress that I really made myself was this one right here. This is not the first one that I ever made in the me-made maternity wardrobe. Like I said, there are some that are out of this list. And the first one that I made caused me a lot of trouble. And if you're familiar with this dress, you might know why already. So this one was the second dress that I made myself, and one that I'm actually almost the most proud of. Although I think I'm going to say that a couple of times throughout this video. This dress right here is my first attempt at hacking a pattern. I followed the Wixton shift dress pattern, which is a shift dress, basically like an oversized t-shirt that's just kind of straight all the way down with like a big boxy t-shirt-like fit up at the top. Basically what I did is I took the top portion of the shift dress pattern and shortened the bodice quite a bit, added a gathered skirt, and then the really complex thing that I'm very, very proud of was adding a button placket right here. So this is not part of the pattern at all. I actually followed a hacking guide by the Allwell Workshop, and she had a button placket hacking guide for one of her patterns, but it worked really well with this one too. So I'll leave that linked in the description and anything else that I kind of mentioned throughout this video. What I really wanted to achieve with this dress in particular was something that was not just going to be something super comfortable for pregnancy, but also keeping in mind postpartum and breastfeeding and everything that will come when baby is actually here. Of course, it looks kind of like pajamas, so it is very comfortable in that way. This is 100% cotton, and I really love the gingham fabric that's here. This checkered fabric that I went with was a really cheap fabric, if I'm being honest, from my local fabric store, because I didn't really want to invest too much. Originally, this fabric, though, was black and white. One of the dresses that I had previously, I threw them in the wash together and it dyed it blue. So I did not like the blue and black look, and instead I wanted something a little bit darker. So then I overdyed this again with black dye, and it actually kind of turned into something a little bit more like purple. And admittedly, when it happened at first, I was really, really upset about it. This just will always kind of lean more pajama-like, I think, than intended. It doesn't really matter what color it is. But I think in all, this is a really great dress. It's been a really great staple in my pregnancy wardrobe. And I can really see myself wearing it a lot because I made those modifications. So after that hacking job, I was so jazzed that I was able to figure out how to work a button placket, and then it actually went pretty smoothly. I was just very impressed with my skills. So I decided to take on something a little bit more complex, which is the Orchards Dress by Vivian Xiao Chen. Okay, and I said that last one was the one I was most proud of, but this one is kind of tied for that, or maybe a very close second, because this pattern was pretty complex for me. I really did some great work here. I'm just really proud of my craftsmanship, to say the very least. So as you can see, this is more of a baby doll style dress. I didn't really do any modifications to this pattern at all, so it comes with a really high or short bodice. It has the buttons at the front and then a gathered skirt. And the reason I chose this pattern, well, when I saw it on Instagram, I was like, that's perfect for my maternity wardrobe because of the baby doll bodice. It sits just under my boobs. And in this way, it gives a lot of room for the belly, but then it's also pretty flattering because I really like showing off the bump in that way. You can see that I chose to go with, again, an 100% cotton, just a checker fabric. It's a nice nude color. I really like that. And just there were little elements of this pattern that were just kind of challenging for me. The button placket, since I had practiced before, wasn't too bad, but adding in the collar was a little challenging. And then for whatever reason, I was having issues with the gathered skirt. So this one is one of the shortest dresses that I have in my wardrobe. And the reason for that is I actually cut off one of the panels. So there are two views in the Orchards dress. One is just with a plain skirt, just one gathered skirt. And then the other view has another tier at the bottom. And that's what I originally went for with this dress. And I ultimately decided that the tier just didn't look so great, and later went back and chopped that off, which has resulted in this dress being a little too short for how I like it. Because as we go through all these dresses, you'll see that I really love a midi length dress. I just prefer it. And also, since these are not maternity patterns, it's kind of important to have a really long skirt because as your belly grows, the skirt will get shorter and shorter. And that's kind of the problem with this dress right here. It is sitting just below my knee and, kind of rides up to over my knee. And I just don't like that look on me right now. So I don't really get as much wear out of it at this stage than I did when I first finished it, which is a shame. So I'm hoping that when, baby is here, I will be able to get a lot more use out of it because I do really think it's just a nice piece. Yeah, that just one small thing. It's amazing how one small thing can just completely change your mood to a garment, or just like your willingness to grab for it and wear it all the time. Immediately after that, I was like, ooh, this was so much fun to do. I did such a good job. I want another one. And I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw an Orchards dress that was made entirely with denim. I loved that denim version, but when I was looking at it, I was thinking, denim's really heavy. I have a really basic sewing machine because, by the way, all of these dresses were made with a basic of the basic Singer sewing machine with no fancy dials or anything like that, just really your very basic beginner sewing machine. And so I was a little worried that that sewing machine wasn't actually going to handle denim. So when I was going to my local fabric store, I did find some denim-like fabric that was much thinner and much more forgiving than denim itself. And when I say forgiving, I mean like stretchy, which is actually a quality that I absolutely hated about this fabric. This dress was my least favorite to make. I absolutely hated this project. This one is probably the worst job that I've done on a dress, but even still, I wear it quite a bit because, again, it's just very comfortable. I did do a couple of modifications on the pattern in comparison to the other one where I didn't do any modifications at all. For this one, I did 2 modifications. One I like, one I don't really like so much. So the first modification that I did based on that denim dress that I actually saw was lengthen the bodice slightly. And I regret doing that because I really enjoy the shortened bodice actually of the original dress because it's so much more flattering. And since I lengthened this, there's just not as much. I just don't like the way it's sitting on my belly. Unfortunately, I just don't feel like it's as flattering for me in this stage of pregnancy than it will be after baby is here. The second modification that I made was lengthen the skirt a lot in comparison to the first dress because I realized that I didn't like the 2-tier dress option. I went for the 1-tier and I made sure that that was a very, very long skirt in comparison to the other dress. So then I would wear it a lot more because of my growing belly. Yeah, but I just don't even want to show you the guts of this dress because you probably can even see it from a distance. It's really, really bad. This fabric was just a nightmare to work with because it wasn't very forgiving at all. So when I said it was forgiving, it wasn't actually forgiving. It's too flexible, too flimsy. It was so hard to gather. Like you can see here up at the front, the gathers look so weird because this fabric is just not meant for gathering. I'm just convinced. And anytime my needle pierced it, there would be a hole. So it's one of those fabrics where you really can't make mistakes. You really gotta get it right the first time. Otherwise, you're gonna have a lot of holes in your project. So at the back here, I have quite a few holes from when I was doing some gathering and regathering and regathering. I did a lot of gathers. I really recommend the pattern. I just don't recommend the pattern with this kind of fabric at all. But this is just something me as a beginner, I just wasn't going to know. I had to kind of learn the hard way. So then I wanted something a little bit less complicated. And so I was scrolling through Etsy and I found something from a seller, Hubba Ding, and she makes a lot of really cute patterns. I would definitely go check her out if you're interested. This one, I believe, is the Susie Dress. So I know I said that I really love short bodices for pregnancy because it shows off the bump. This one actually attracted me because of the long bodice that it has. Like it's so exaggerated in comparison to like your normal average bodice that kind of, I really loved how exaggerated and long this particular bodice is. So this is the Susie Dress, and it is a gathered tiered dress, which I thought would be perfect for summer. And I have to say I was right. This has been so great to have in my wardrobe simply because it is a simple dress that I can just throw on and walk away and just feel complete and very comfortable, very cool. I have to say though, when I first finished this dress, I was a little skeptical about it and actually thought that it didn't flatter me very well. I don't know, there was just something about the dress that didn't work right and I kind of had to grow into it. But after making this and wearing it around, I knew I needed a lot more gathered skirts and dresses in my life. So I do think though that with my inexperience, I could have improved upon this just slightly with the straps. The straps, there's something about the way the dress is sitting on my shoulders that it's just not fitting very well. And I think that's my fault. I think what I should have done is place the straps a little bit closer in on the back, because currently they tend to fall off my shoulders, which is a shame. But other than that, everything else about this dress is extremely flattering and easy to wear, and I would 100% recommend Hubbarding's patterns because I think she writes them very well for beginners, and yeah, no complaints there. Talking about gathers, here is a dress that is perfect in every way. And I really hope that you can see it because I know I'm wearing black and it is black and it might not show up very well on camera, but this is my favorite dress that I've made myself, and my most worn dress because it's black and it's just so easy to wear. You really can't go wrong with a statement black dress. And it is a statement because it's got a lot of gathers. I don't know if you can really tell, again, because you might not be able to see it very well. But I really love this dress. This is actually, it's following a pattern, but not quite. So if you don't already know about the Essentials Club, definitely go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. She is a YouTuber as well, and she posts a lot of tutorials for how to make your own clothes. So this is one of them. I followed her tiered maxi dress, gathered maxi dress tutorial. And basically her formula is to just measure yourself, take some measurements of clothes that you love, and do some simple math, and you can basically just create something from scratch without having to print out pattern pieces and so on. So if you like that kind of format, I would definitely check her out. I like both. I think sometimes it can be overwhelming to take measurements and draw things out on fabric, but at the same time, this worked out really well. So while I was uncertain and kind of stressing through some bits of the project, I was able to do it pretty easily. I really wanted this dress in my wardrobe because it's so easy to just throw on and walk away. Again, it's just a really easy one to dress up and dress down. Out of all of the dresses that I've made myself, this one I think I can really get away with for like more special occasions too. Like going out to dinner and things like that, I feel pretty dressed up in, and I feel effortlessly chic and cute. So this one is actually made in 100% linen. So this is black linen fabric. So as I continue to wear it, as I continue to wash it, the linen is going to soften up so nicely, and it's just going to continue to be just a really easy dress to wear. This is another dress that I can really see staying in my wardrobe for a really long time. I love the square neck right here. I love all the gathered tiers. It's a little bit of a heavier dress just because this is basically floor length on me. But I also think that's what makes it so easy to dress up and down because it's so long. It's kind of like a grand dress. And it, yeah, gives me a moment, you know? So with this dress, I actually did a hack for the skirts to gather all of the different panels together. I used shirring elastic to help me out because I was having a lot of trouble with gathers for this dress in particular. And I was honestly, I think all gathered out from all those other dresses. But yeah, I love a good gathered tiered dress. I feel like they're so easy to wear and really, really cute too. And I don't know if I'll ever stop making them for my wardrobe. This one has a moment for sure. This one right here is the Haddonfield Dress by Paradise Patterns. And first of all, I just love the fabric. The fabric is something that I found over on Etsy. This fabric really reminds me of some other dresses or items that I've seen at some of my favorite stores that are like Olive Clothing, or yeah, just like a more elevated retail shop that would sell linen dresses that I just absolutely would never pay for because they're like $200 or something like that. So when I saw the fabric, I was like, ooh, I need to get that and try and make something for myself at a fraction of the cost. And I really love this dress because it's so different from all the other dresses that I've made, mainly because at the front, it's just straight. There's no gathering or anything like that, but it gives a lot of room for the bump because on the back, there is a big gathering moment, a nice scooped back and lots of gathers, which gives this dress so much room, and it makes it really like roomy and airy and light and kind of fun for summer. At the same time though, the back is a little bit of a strike against it just because I'm not really in a stage where I'm very comfortable not wearing a bra, and this is kind of, I don't know, I think for me, just looks the best if you're bare in the back instead of having a bra showing because of that big scoop back. So that makes this a little bit more difficult to wear. So normally I just layer it and then people don't really get to see that big gathering moment at the back. But that's not the most important thing to me. I just really love the fit of the top and how that looks. I really love, just the front of the dress. I think it's really cute and looks really simple. Unfortunately, I don't think I chose the right front pattern piece for my body personally. You can do two options. There's a B cup version and a D cup version. And since B cup was my normal pre-pregnancy size, I opted to do the D cup for a little bit of extra room. And I also saw Melt Stitches on Instagram. She did the exact same thing when she was pregnant. And that's who I got inspiration to do this dress from. But I did find that maybe it's just too much room in the front for me. I'm still not there yet. So I wish it would fit a little bit better. I did make some modifications for that in the end to kind of take in from the back to kind of make it a little bit more fitted at the front. But that's just something that I would have changed if I could. And then I didn't do a very good job with the bust darts. But that's okay. I still think it's really cute. This dress right here is one of the last things that I made myself for my summer wardrobe. And you can really tell that I'm leaning into the whole pajama chic look. But you know what? I'm pregnant and I can wear whatever I want. So I will. And that's exactly why I made this dress, because I wanted something nice and summery and, again, easy to throw on. And since it's been extremely hot these past couple of weeks, month or so, this has definitely been needed, and I've been grabbing for this so much. So this is another hacked pattern, kinda. I made a lot of modifications to it, but I used a pattern by Paper Cut Patterns. I can't really remember it, so I'm gonna leave it linked and I'm gonna put something on the screen. But basically for that pattern, I really loved it as it was on its own, but I had a lot of gathered tiered skirts already in my wardrobe and I wanted to do just something simple. And I don't think I actually had enough of this fabric to make that exact dress, so I worked with what I had. And I just decided to use the bodice right here and attach a gathered skirt, just a straight gathered skirt, into a midi length dress. I really love the bodice because I feel like, again, it's very short, it's very Regency-esque. So the bump is there. You can definitely see the bump and I'm showing that off, which I really love. And I just think it's a really nice summery look for the summer. And I also feel like it's very in right now, like that Regency style is very popular in a lot of dresses. So that was basically everything that I took from that Paper Cuts pattern. And I think I will actually make the full dress, like the tiered dress, in the future. But for this one, I didn't even follow the steps for the straps, although I think that they're very pretty. Here, I just did something super simple and I made two very long straps for the front and the back. And instead of trying to work out like how it should fit over my shoulders and where would it sit nicely. I just decided to knot them in the back. So you can see right here. And I really actually love this look. I feel like it's a design feature of the dress. I think it just adds something and makes it look a little bit cooler, a little bit more effortless, if I do say so myself. And yeah, I'm just really proud of this one as well. I actually lined the bodice with a bed sheet, just to add to that pajama chic feel. But yeah, this dress is very, very simple, but I've been wearing it a lot just because it's so dang hot, and I needed something like that in my closet. So we have made it through the majority of my wardrobe. There's still some more things to show you, but this one has kind of pumped the brakes on my sojo. So I've had a lot of sewing mojo this entire summer. Obviously, that's how I've gotten all of these items on this clothing rack. But let me tell you, my latest finished object has kind of tired me out, and I think I'm ready to stop for now. The thing about sewing is that it's not as easy as knitting. Like a knitting project, you know, you can sit down anywhere and get started and work on it. But with sewing, you have to be very stationary, at least for me. I need to have all of my items on a table, and I need to cut things out. Like, there are so many things that you have to do for a sewing project that's just so much more inconvenient than it is for knitting. So props to you guys. If sewing is your main hobby, I am in awe of you because I don't think I could do it. But that being said, I'm very proud of everything that I've made, and I am proud of this one too. It was exhausting. So this is the zero waist gathered dress, which I've seen all over Instagram and have really, really loved. And I love the look of it. It's an oversized fit. It's a zero waist pattern, so you're using every scrap of the fabric, which is what makes it into this very oversized garment. What I really loved about this pattern when I saw it is that the way that some women wear it is not just as a dress, but also kind of like a robe. So they leave it open because there are buttons all along the middle of this dress. So you can leave it open. It's kind of like a duster, like a jacket. And I saw that and I was like, that would be really handy postpartum. So not only would this work really well as a dress for pregnancy, but it would work really well in particular for postpartum because I'm going to want some really oversized, comfy clothes to keep me, well, warm, because it will be hopefully chillier than it is right now. I have to say it took me a while to work up the courage to do this pattern, because once I bought the pattern, I saw that there were no pattern pieces. You really had to draw everything out on the fabric. And for whatever reason, that was just really intimidating me and was a huge hurdle for me to actually get this project started. But I will say, once I did it, it was smooth sailing. It really wasn't anything. I was really just in my head, and I didn't have to make it that big of a deal. And, you know, with it now being finished, I don't think that this project was particularly hard. I do think, however, that I chose the wrong fabric. So again, this was a beginner's mistake, I think, because this is a really heavy dress. So it's not something that I even want to touch right now. I am going to be honest with you. I've made it maybe 2 weeks ago and I haven't gotten any wear out of it just because it is so dang hot. And this is a really heavy fabric. So this is a twill fabric of some kind. I want to say cotton twill, but I don't know 100%. I know it's twill something, which it's really beautiful. It's very autumn and I really love this color. And I think it will be so pretty in fall and perfect for fall. But for right now, it just makes me sweat looking at it. And yeah, just feeling how heavy it is, I'm just like, gosh, this is not This is not practical for my current state. This was my first time doing a full button placket with a gathered skirt. So my first time doing a dress where it wasn't one piece on the bodice or the skirt, if that makes sense. So it's 3 panels instead of 2 and sewing those together. So that was my first time doing that, and it wasn't as challenging as I thought it was going to be, which is really great. The only thing that was challenging really was this fabric and working with this fabric. So something that I'm maybe learning with levels of difficulty, patterns aren't necessarily the hard part. It's just what fabric are you going to use? Maybe I'm not 100% correct on that, but that's just kind of where I've had the most trouble throughout this entire process, is more fabric related than it is actually pattern related. So most of the time I can get through a pattern just fine. Without any difficulty, and the techniques aren't very difficult. It's mainly the fabric that kind of stumps me and makes the process so much more difficult. So since this is a very drapey fabric with a lot of weight to it, that made it very difficult to work this up in comparison to if I had a lightweight linen or cotton, for example. I think that that would have been such a better choice. But that being said, this is just going to be really cozy. I can already feel it. While I'm not really into the fabric right now and like the feel of this dress right now, it just seems way too warm. I know I'm going to snuggle up in this so much in the coming months when it gets a lot colder, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then of course I have some knits that I have been wearing as well. So maybe not so much anymore, but this is my retro V-neck sweater. This is a pattern by me that I actually finished at the beginning of this year, and I made it super cropped so that it would be very flattering on the belly, which was really nice in springtime. Don't really get much wear out of it now, but it was something that I definitely got wear out of in the very beginning. And then this is my Cumulus tee. I made this actually last year in a cattail silk, and it's also kind of cropped and works really nicely with skirts and also layering over top of some of the more spaghetti top dresses that I have, which has been really nice to have as well. So I do try and wear some of the knitwear that I've got even in summertime. Granted, the weather is cooperating. So that's basically everything that I made myself over the last couple of months, over the 8-9 months that I was pregnant. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to click on this video and spend some time with me and hear a little bit about my me-made maternity wardrobe. I hope you enjoyed hearing the things that I've made over these last couple of months. If you have any additional questions about them, definitely let me know. I will answer as best as I can in the comments. And I will definitely try to have everything linked in the description, everything that I mentioned today. But if there's something that I might have missed, definitely give me a nudge and I will be sure to put it there. So thanks again, VIVAIA, for sponsoring today's video, and thank you guys so much for supporting brands that support this channel. If you liked this video, definitely give it a like, and maybe even subscribe if you want to stick around, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!